Hi, and welcome to PreVeil's Compliance Corner. You're probably wondering where Orlee is. Unfortunately, Orlee couldn't join us today. So we have Wanda, our temp. Wanda, do you want to say hi
I'm
to
a temp called Wanda.
You are, yes. Do you want to say hello to everybody out there?
Hi, everybody.
Wanda, we really appreciate you helping out today. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm here applying for the new temp position. I heard you guys needed one. The temp agency said you were looking for an executive assistant. I have a lot of experience.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Well, this will be really wonderful because today we're talking about insider threats. Do you know anything about that?
Insider threats. Why are we talking about insider threats? That's like the most bogus thing ever. Okay. Like the only insider threat I have ever seen is a bug inside my house. Like that's an insider threat. Those little bugs come, they eat up your food, they eat up your wood. That is the definition of an insider threat.
Well, I mean, yeah, that could be considered one type of an insider threat, Wanda. That's true, but there's actually a lot of other types as well. And one of them is, for example, if you have a coworker who maybe has sort of an outburst that you didn't expect. Maybe somebody who's a little bit
Okay,
angry.
look, we're all about trying to be more demonstrative of our emotions. It is really bad to keep your emotions under wraps, right? Because that can lead to all sorts of things like depression and an inability to kind of like be in touch with your feelings. I'm all about like letting your emotions out and letting the world know how you feel because that's how you get things done. Okay.
Okay. So that's actually a really good example, though, of some of the types of insider threats you can have. I don't know if you realize this, Wanda, but having somebody who has extreme outbursts, maybe to questions or comments that really didn't require any sort of emotional outburst.
I resent that.
Understandable, understandable. But these are definitely examples where I'm not saying you, obviously, Wanda, but there could be other people who might be having extreme reactions to things consistently. And we're not just talking having a frustrating moment or maybe having a disagreement with one of your coworkers. We're talking about a consistent amount of outrage, outbursts, also bullying, sexual harassment can kind of fall under this as well. That sort of just any kind of inappropriate behavior that is usually more emotionally charged, if that makes sense. But again, not you, Wanda.
No, because I'm just a temp. Like I don't even work here, so
I mean,
why would I apply to
exactly.
you?
Exactly. Actually, definitely. So let's move on to another example of insider threat, if you're okay with that, Wanda.
Sure, totally fine.
And Wanda, when we were talking before we started recording, you said something about a new. Oh, is this the new car that you got?
It's a Tesla, brand new, top of the line.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's really nice. And so it's just you paying for the car, or
Oh, my husband, boyfriend, it's all the same thing. He works construction. He has a good job, so works a bit of overtime here and there.
gotcha. Wow, this is a really nice car though. It's
We
a
just
lot of
needed a
money.
car that said it us.
Right. I mean, yeah, I would also love to have a Tesla. They're great cars. They're a little too expensive for me, but I mean, that's great that you guys are able to do that. And it kind of really works very well with our next insider threat, which is unexplained wealth. Not that this would be a situation with you, because obviously, like you said, you've explained that. But let's say that maybe you couldn't explain it. If you have a coworker or an employee or anybody who's sort of in your organization and there's a constant flow of, say, like new items coming in, big ticket items that you can't really explain. I actually have a real world example of this. um, I have somebody in my family who worked with someone who for years, and we're talking like 10, 15 years, was stealing money from the county that they all worked at, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and nobody knew about it. And the way they figured it out is because somebody reported an insider threat based on the fact that this person was buying tons of boats and brand new cars that were very expensive and houses and what have you. And they were not making the kind of money that would sort of make sense with.
No,
Yeah. Does that make
really
sense?
petty. Some people would steal in order to fund their lifestyle. We would
It's,
never do
I mean, no, of course you wouldn't want to, obviously. I mean, I know you would never do that, but
because a
it is,
temp like Wanda would never steal
oh
anything.
no, absolutely. A temp named Wanda would never. I know. But that is something to pay attention to. And again, any of these insider threats we're talking about, if somebody buys a boat, it doesn't mean that they're an insider threat. If somebody gets angry once at work, it doesn't mean they're an insider threat. We're looking at more consistency. If it's over the course of a few weeks or months and it's the same things happening over and over again, it could be a sign of an insider threat.
Could be.
It could be, yes. But obviously, like you, it's not.
No.
So let's move on to the next insider threat we can talk about.
Yeah. So, Noel, could you just give me, like your password? So I just want to get a really quick check at, how the org chart works at this company. Can I just get your password so I can see that information?
I feel like you could probably just get access to the org chart on the PreVeil drive, and someone could give you that access. I'm probably not the best person to ask, but maybe your manager here at PreVeil could. That makes sense.
I asked him, he was just being difficult. Oh, it's just this little.
Yeah, I don't really feel comfortable. Yeah, I mean, Wanda, I would love to help, obviously, but I don't really feel comfortable giving anybody my password. That's kind of it's a huge no-no, let's be honest. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to do that. Yeah, so we should probably just start talking about this insider threat. But I mean, I appreciate you asking. Again, this is an insider threat. Absolutely not talking about you, Wanda, but there are some individuals who unfortunately will try to get information that they're not entitled to. So maybe they're trying to talk to you about a top secret, or company specific type of contract or some sort of intellectual property that they are not any part of whatsoever. And they start asking you questions and wanting to know way more information than they should. This is an example. This is one of the few of our insider threats where even one time of this is problematic. So if you do have somebody who's pushing you really hard and asking for specific information from you that you know for a fact they have no right to have, want to like you having my password is a good example because it's
really don't think that that this is an instance of that. I just want to.
No, totally understand. Totally understand.
I can't even see it.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. But I do think that for most people, that would probably be like an example of an insider threat. That one's pretty hard and fast. So just something to think about. But it's no worries. I'll email somebody and make sure you get that org chart. No problem.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And then now we can move on to our next insider threat.
Gone from work a lot. Oh,
yes. Wow. Yeah. So that's one that, obviously, I mean, you're not gone from work ever, right? I mean, you're here all the
no, I go away every now and then. I mean, can I just show you something? So this is the Seychelles. This is where we went on our last vacation. Beautiful, off the eastern coast of Africa. Prince Harry, I think, went there. I know his brother William went there for their honeymoon.
How many times have you been there? It sounds like you know a lot about it.
Just twice, but we're going to go again next year.
Oh, okay. Well, that's it. So you just go once a year or?
Try to go twice.
Oh.
Like flying business class, because otherwise you get there and you're like exhausted.
Right,
and
yeah.
so.
Do you go on other vacations a lot? Like, is there anywhere else
we like to travel, so we'll go to Europe a couple times a year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then anywhere else, or just Europe a few times a year, and then here a couple times? Or
I mean, maybe we'll take a long weekend in there, here and there. Nothing too flamboyant.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, I'm glad to hear that because we're talking about an insider threat, talking about being gone from work a lot, and obviously, this isn't you, right? But
I mean, we go for a couple weeks at a time, but
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's interesting. But anyway, again, not you, right? I mean, you're not.
No, attempt to call Wanda would never be gone from work too much.
Never. So we're talking about people who maybe specifically too are going to the same places repeatedly with no explanation. Like if someone is traveling, especially to different countries where the United States has a maybe contentious sort of relationship with.
We have gone to China a couple times.
Okay. Are you going like frequently or?
No, just twice a year.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Any reason for that? Do you have family out there or
it's just a fascinating country.
It is. I agree. Definitely. Well,
I mean, they have this big thing, this big wall there.
We do have a big wall there. I have heard
that. They call it the Great Wall.
They do. They do call it that. Wanda, you're very smart. I'm very impressed. Well, let's say for the sake of
Wanda wasn't born yesterday.
No, she was not, obviously. Let's say for the sake of argument that maybe you went to China like every single month or every couple of weeks and there was no explanation for it. And you were going over and over and over again, or just missing work consistently. This could be a sign of an insider threat. It could also be a sign of a lot of different things. So this one is one where you have to be very, very careful about it. If somebody is missing work a lot, sit down and have a conversation with your manager if you think that this could be a concern for insider threat. But it also could, there could be an explanation you don't know about. Maybe this person has a sick family member somewhere that you're not knowing about because that's private information for them. So definitely be careful. But if you do see like consistently that someone is going places a whole lot and missing work a whole lot with no explanation, you've talked to your manager and there's no more additional information you can get, then this may be signs of insider threat.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. I will keep that in mind.
I'm so glad. It's all about education here. That's what we do.
Indeed.
That's what we're all about. Okay, and then I think this is our last one.
Oh, right.
I think it is. Yes. So this is violating rules of an organization. So every organization has a set of policies and procedures that are not just security IT related, but really just across the entire like organization. So I know that you're new, Orlee. So, oh, I'm sorry, you're not Orlee. Wanda, I know you're so new, so you probably don't know a lot of the policies and procedures that we have here at PreVeil internally. But did you look at our employee handbook or have any questions about anything?
I did not. I did not know. But so what would be an example? I mean, I know I was gonna. That reminds me. Can you give me just the passcode to get it into the computer room? I really could use that.
You mean the server room? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that.
Oh, yeah. No, we don't do that. Yeah, that's something where it's very much so if you look at the policy, that's why I asked you if you'd read the employee handbook. It states very clearly in our IT security policy that only administrators with approved access are going to be able to get into the server room. So that would be a
I just want to take a look around and educate myself.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. I support you wanting to educate yourself, but unfortunately, our policy is really strict within PreVeil about nobody having access to that room unless they're authorized, and unfortunately, you're not authorized. So sorry about that. But this does also kind of work into our insider threat. Again, not that you're an insider threat, obviously, but violating rules of an organization. If I were to, for example, give you access to that server room, I would be in violation of the organizational rules and policies and procedures that we clearly stated. I know. And there's a lot of different types. Obviously, there's varying levels of, violating policy and procedure. If you're late, like for example, if there's a policy that states that you have to start working at a certain time or you have to be on call a certain number of days a week and you keep missing that or keep being late, that is definitely a violation of rules and of the organization. And that could definitely be a sign of an insider threat. Likewise, Wanda, just using it as an example, not that you're an insider threat, but if somebody were to say, ask me as, if I'm an administrator here at PreVeil and I have access to the server room and all of the information within it, that's all very sensitive data. And there's a policy and procedure to keep that stuff safe. If I then say, hey, I'm just going to take Wanda, who's only worked here today, and let her just look around in the whole data center and just let her
I think it would be very Southern of you just to give me that hospitality and show me around.
It would. And I would love to make my mother proud. However, unfortunately, I can't violate the rules of our organization. PreVeil would be pretty mad about that. And if I did, then I would be seen as the insider threat. So I'm definitely not trying to be seen as the insider threats. I appreciate you wanting to make sure that I don't get in trouble. Thank you. I know. Gotta follow the rules. Well, Wanda,
do I get the job? Do I get the job, Noel?
I will get back to you on that. I'll have to talk to Orlee. We'll have to have a conversation and then we'll see. We'll definitely get back to you. Definitely. And I really want to say I appreciate your help today, Wanda, because I would have been all by myself on this today since Orlee's out. So thank you so much for your help. And I hope that we were able to educate everybody who's watching a little bit more on insider threat. And if you want additional information or have additional compliance questions, you can check out the show notes and see how to get 15 minutes of compliance with me. And again, Wanda, it was so great working with you. So great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Noel.